It's Tuesday, February 26. This is the news on PBCJ. I'm Simone Absalom. Today, the Ministry of Education, Youth and Information will officially begin to implement the first component of the Primary Exit Profile, or PEP. The new National Assessment Program will be introduced through the National Standards Curriculum via the Ability Test. Chief Education Officer in the ministry, Dr. Grace McLean, spoke to this at a recent Jamaica Information Service think tank.
On February 26, we will commence with the first component of the primary exit profile, which is the ability test. We will see our students doing this assessment in 1,104 centers across the island, and all students who were born between the years of 2006 to 2008 will be eligible to sit this assessment.
But what exactly is the ability test?
The ability test will measure our students' ability to reason with words and quantities, quantitative and verbal reasoning that is. It will represent 30% of the student's profile. The test will comprise 40 single select multiple choice items, and students will be required to complete the assessment within the assessment booklet. I want to emphasize that this is a departure from what our children would have been accustomed to. Prior to this, they would have been provided with an answer sheet with bubbles where they would read the questions and they would shade the appropriate bubble. This time they will be doing all the work, including perhaps shading bubbles as the questions are outlined within the answer booklet.
Dr. McLean spoke to the readiness of the ministry for the assessment.
We at the ministry are adequately prepared for this assessment. We have already dispatched to our regional offices timetables which our schools would have reviewed and would have passed on comments for any changes to be made. We have also made preparations in terms of the invigilators and presiding examiners who have already been trained and are now making final preparation to ensure that we have all centers adequately covered for this assessment. I want to also emphasize the fact that because this assessment is being done for the first time, we will be ensuring that additional support is provided within our schools. So the entire ministry's team will be dispatched to schools so that our presiding examiners and invigilators will have adequate support, and also to ensure that we provide support to the many parents who we know are going to be converging.
She said the ministry will provide support for special needs students. A total of 304 students have submitted psycho-evaluation reports, and these have been evaluated by the Special Education Unit. The recommendations that have been made have been communicated to approximately 95% of the students. There is a further setback to efforts to alleviate the corporate area's water woes. Another major pipeline along the Mandela Highway has broken. In a news release Monday afternoon, the National Water Commission said the 33-inch Rio Cobre Tulloch Spring transmission pipeline along the southern side of the highway suffered another break Monday due to road improvement activities taking place in the area. The NWC said the damage occurred in the same general vicinity of Tom Crinkle Drive, where another break occurred last month. The NWC said it is expected that water transmission along the pipeline will need to be shut down. It serves sections of Port Moore as well as parts of the corporate area such as Spanish Town Road, Marcus Garvey Drive, Malines Road, Washington Boulevard, and sections of downtown Kingston. The Victoria Jubilee Hospital has received medical equipment valued at $6,700 from the United Kingdom-based charity Rejuvenate Jamaica Hospitals to improve its neonatal services. The equipment, 5 incubators and 5 phototherapy devices were handed over during a ceremony last week at the hospital. Export regulations for medicinal cannabis industry are expected to be finalized by the end of April. Jamaica Promotions Corporation, Manager for Logistics and Infrastructure, Don Gittins, made the disclosure as he addressed a think tank session at the Jamaica Information Service recently. He said once export regulations are in place, JAMPRO expects licensees to trade medicinal cannabis to other jurisdictions that have cannabis. JAMPRO has responsibility for investment and promotion of the medicinal cannabis industry. Gittins said based on weekly inquiries into the industry, the export regulations will be received well internationally. He added that the regulations will allow the local markets to fill the demand for medicinal cannabis globally. The US dollar on Monday ended trading at Jamaican $131.02, down by 19 cents. According to the Bank of Jamaica's daily foreign exchange trading summary, the Canadian dollar ended trading at Jamaican $100.01, down from $100.25, while the British pound sterling ended trading at Jamaican $169.55, up from Jamaican $173.35. In regional news, Caribbean countries have been warned that the rainfall over the next 3 months may be drier than usual in some islands, resulting in a progressively increase in wildfires. The Barbados-based Caribbean Climate Outlook Forum, in its latest Caribbean Climate Outlooks, released Monday, said with the weak El Niño conditions forecast to persist, chances of drought and recurrent dry spells in the second half of the season are increased, and heat waves will start occurring locally into May. It said that a potential late start to the wet season, particularly in Belize and the southernmost islands, and the dry spells associated to it, may produce warmer temperatures than usual in the lingering dry season. Police officers in the Bahamas are expected to be using body cameras by summer. The National Security Minister, Marvin Dames, said Cabinet gave its approval 2 weeks ago.
Bringing transparency to what it is the police officers do. This is very important because it's important for 2 reasons. To protect the citizens from overzealous police officers and to protect the police officers from persons who may be accusing them wrongfully. And so we're excited about it, and we as a government, since coming into office, we're very, very excited about making this a reality, and we're very close to doing just that.
In Guyana, the local subsidiary of Russian aluminum company Rusal expected to reinstate the 61 workers who were fired on February 19. We have more in this report.
Our ministry is a ministry that deals with the production. Ministry of Social Protection deals with labor industrial issues. But I would expect for us to get back into production and normalcy. That certainly by Wednesday the latest, Rusal ought to be able to give not just the government, but more importantly the workers, some positive news. We want, I think Minister Harman puts it best, we want to see workers that are comfortable, both with their wages and conditions of work, and we want to see a company working in Guyana that is earning a fair rate of return on its investment. So it's finding that balance between aiding the company and ensuring that the workers are okay. So we stood with the company during its travails with the sanctions. We expect that the company will stand with us now with minds in Guyana and respects both the laws and the workers.
In sports, West Indies Players Association at its annual general meeting last Wednesday in Kingston, Jamaica, ratified the return of all members of the executive. As such, Wavell Hines will continue as president and Wayne Lewis as honorary secretary for the 4th consecutive term, and Nixon McLean will continue as vice president. Liam Sebastian as assistant honorary secretary, and Ridley Jacobs as treasurer for the 3rd consecutive term. And that's the news right here on PBCJ. I'm Simone Absalom. Pleasant viewing.